but I'm just going to call on Sam before we address those questions. So over to you, Sam Wolf from One World Group, to talk a little bit more about the Turkish citizenship program first.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you everybody for waiting. I'll be sure to make this quick. So let me just jump into our presentation now. One moment. Oh, can you see the PowerPoint on the screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, yes.
You can. Okay, good. Okay, good. One moment. Okay, so today, as mentioned, I'm Sam Wolf, Managing Director of One World Group. We have three primary business lines. The first is immigration, the second is real estate sales, and the third is real estate funds. Today, we're talking about Turkey. We partner exclusively with Suryapu, the largest developer in Turkey. And we're going to talk about their projects and the opportunity for citizenship by investment in Turkey. So three parts of this presentation. As I mentioned, I'll make it quick, simple overview. First is, what is the program, right? This is what matters to you as a potential investor. Second is, who are we? What projects do we have? What's our background? And the third is highlighting two specific projects. So the Turkish passport program, it used to be $1 million, which is quite prohibitive for most investors. At the beginning of last year, it was reduced to $250,000. So this is quite a reasonable dollar amount for most investors. You have to buy property worth $250,000 or above. That's essentially the requirement. You need to hold that property for 3 years. After that, you can sell it and you will retain your citizenship and your passport. This includes passport for your spouse and children under 18. The process, very simple and very quick. Here we say 6 to 8 months total time. The processing time is 3 months. So if you submit your documents quick, if you can pay quickly, then we can do everything in 3 months. Most importantly is that after a lot of hard work, we can now process your application or any investor's application from within India. You never have to touch down in Turkey. Everything can be done from within India. This includes reserving and buying a property. This includes signing a power of attorney at the Turkish embassy or consulate, notarizing your passport, family documents, birth certificates, and then sending it all to Turkey. We handle all the hard stuff, and then you go to the Turkish embassy to submit biometrics and pick up your passport. It really couldn't be more simple. Fee cost breakdown, $250,000 minimum investment. I'll talk a bit about our different inventory that we have, so you could choose a property that is right for you. In terms of the fees, very, very reasonable, around $10,000 of fees. This includes the appraisal, this includes notarization, a few other fees here and there. So let's talk a bit about the benefits of Turkey. One is educational resources. There's a lot of top universities and international schools in Turkey that have been founded for over 100 years. American education, German, French, British, the list goes on, tons of options, and very reasonable price, right? $5,000 to $10,000 per year, which I believe is less than what some international schools are in India. The next benefit, visa-free travel to 110 countries around the world. Some major markets, so Turkey is not in the EU. We don't know if it will or will not join. That is not a major selling point. If they do join, that's a great benefit for our investors. If they don't, there's still a lot of opportunity within Turkey itself. So you need to apply to the EU. With a Turkish passport, you need to apply to Schengen countries to obtain a visa to visit there, and same for the US. Affordable healthcare and medical care. This is also quite interesting for trade. There's a lot of trade in medical supplies, but Turkey is one of the top medical tourism destinations in the world. You have people from all over the region traveling to Turkey for high quality healthcare. The fourth benefit is access to the UK. So many people don't know this. Turkey has a program, or is part of the Ankara Agreement, which we call an ECAA visa. What this means is that we also call a Turkish business person visa. Turkish people can apply to the UK for a visa to start a business. They're issued a 1-year visa and then 3 years extension, so on and so forth. After 5 years, you can apply for a permanent residency in the UK. After 1 year from that, you can apply for a citizenship. So this does lead to citizenship. The main criteria is that you need to genuinely want and be prepared to, and have the financial resources to, start a business in the UK that has some connection to your previous work experience. We have a whole process to do this for our clients. This is a way to access the UK that maybe wasn't mentioned earlier. The next is access to the US. We've talked, or the other presenters have talked quite a bit about the E2 program. Turkey is an E2 treaty country. Very main benefits about Turkey itself, maybe compared to other treaty countries, is that Turkey has a very big economy. It is very accessible, right? Turkish Airlines flies to most countries, or the most countries in the world. So Turkey does give you access to the US with E2 and to the UK with ECAA. Those are very important benefits. So to quickly summarize the program, it's fast. 3 months processing time, no residence requirements. You do not need to go to Turkey. It's valuable, $250,000 investment. You can sell it after 3 years for appreciation, and you can rent it in the meantime to receive some rental yield. It provides access to the US, UK, and 110 visa-free countries. And it's simple. There's no source of funds, no asset declaration, no criminal record check. The requirements are very, very simple for investors. Next, let's talk about Topkapi. This is one of the largest developers in Turkey, not just focused on residential, but a variety of different development projects, including office buildings, shopping centers, industrial buildings, schools, and energy projects in coordination with the government. In total, we've developed nearly 4 million square meters of development area in Turkey. So what's very important when you're looking at a immigration program, in my opinion, is 1, what is the asset that you're investing in? And 2, how secure is your application going to be, right? You could have the best asset, but if you don't have a solid legal team and good services to apply for the citizenship, you can have problems. And vice versa. If you don't have a good asset, but you still get the passport, you're not going to be happy in the end. So we really, really, really focus on pairing those two together. We have very, very strong government relations. We have on-the-ground team, of course, translators if needed, and a few other things that I will discuss shortly. This is Selma, our managing director in Turkey. She's also from the Suryapu family. Her father is the owner of the developer. Next is our legal team. Mr. Mustajab is the one who is processing applications, and Mr. Amin has government relations. He's actually a congressman in Turkey. This is very, very important. Now for us, we provide 3 guarantees. In some immigration programs, you have non-transparent pricing, and this can be troublesome. As an investor, you want to make sure you're paying the same price as a local person. We guarantee that our price list and inventory is standard across the board, no matter if you're Turkish, Indian, American, Chinese, whatever, prices are standard. Second is there's no lanes, meaning there's no claim to the title. We have no third part. Our titles are free and clear to transfer. We have no claims from financiers, from banks, from co-developers, from landowners. This is very important because you need the title of the property in order to be able to apply for the passport. And the third is appraisal. In Turkey, for the program, it doesn't matter what the contract price of the property is. It matters what the appraised value of the property is. So you could buy a property for $1 million, but if it's not appraised above $250,000, then you're out of luck. For us, we guarantee 100% appraisal. What this means is that the price you pay and the price that's written in your contract is the same as what a neutral, licensed, third-party appraisal company will give you in an appraisal. We guarantee this. Here's an example of our contract and appraisal. The prices match. Last, I'm going to talk very quickly about a few projects that we have. As overview, we actually have a number of projects, primarily in Istanbul, but also in other cities throughout Turkey. So this is Istanbul. I'm not sure how many people have been there. It's bisected in the middle by the Bosphorus Strait. On the left side is what we call the European side. On the right side is what we call the Asian side. To be honest, I don't think the sides matter so much. What matters more is which project are you investing in? Are you planning to only invest and never go there? Do you want to relocate to Turkey? Do you want to start a business and your family stays in India? These are things that will affect which project you decide to invest in. We have different projects. Some have rental guarantee. One of my projects, I offer buyback. So you buy a unit. After 3 years, I will buy it back from you at the contract price. There's very little risk here. So the point is a variety of product. It really depends on the investor. We'd like to understand their situation in order to recommend what is best for them. Here's one of our projects called Topkapi. This is on the European side. It's in the heart of the old town, so it's close to the tourism area. It's a transportation hub and very close to universities and hospitals, okay? The starting price is at $2,000 per square meter. So our available units between 254,000 upwards. Next project, Tempo City. This is also in the European side, a bit further north in the CBD area, or one of the CBDs of Istanbul. It's right beside a famous mall called Axis, which we also developed. This price starts from $2,100 per square meter. So prices are very economical in terms of the square meter priceage. We have inventory for this project between 150,000 and 350,000. So that's the end of the presentation. I hope that was not too quick, but a nice overview for everybody. If you have questions, feel free to ask them.
All right, thank you very much, Sam, for that presentation. I think it was really insightful to know about the projects that you've got on right now, and also the benefit with the Turkish Ankara, London agreement, which kind of gets the Turkish business person resident. So it's definitely an advantage. So we've got some questions in here, and I'm just going to send those across to the different panelists. I've got one for Yanis. Yanis, Mr. Nandlal wants to know, what's the minimum price of the luxury apartments in the Limassol high-rise project?
Okay, starting there for Blue Marine, the price starts from 1,200,000 euros.
Okay. One
bedroom close to 65 square meters indoor. And for the Mar, now the cheapest apartment we have is close to 2.5. It's a 3-bedroom apartments because we have very limited option in Limassol del Mar.
Right, brilliant. Okay, well, thank you very much for that. And another one for you as well is, the investment for the Greece project. What's the typical timeline for getting a Greece PR once you make an investment?
Okay, we are mainly building to the islands, and we have few projects in the mainland as well. If they're buying properties to Crete Island or Paros Island, it's much quicker because it's a smaller. It's much faster, the procedure. To Crete, usually it's taking from 10 days to 1 month. From the time they transfer the money and we transfer the title deeds to their name, they will take between 10 days to 1 month to get their residency for the whole family.
Wow. All right. Okay, that's fairly quick in terms of getting the turnaround on there.
What we are usually doing, sorry for bothering
Yeah.
you, is just a keynote. A lot of the clients, they're starting the procedure without coming. So while they're in the islands, they're spending a week there and they're living with their residency. So they don't have to travel twice.
Right. That absolutely makes sense to kind of do that. Falguni, I've got a question for you. You know, just this one of our participants wants to know the requirement for innovator visas to the UK. Is there any specific requirement for innovator visas, investments and such? Right. I think she's off on mute at the moment. We'll kind of come back to it again.
Hi, now am I audible?
Oh yes, you're audible indeed. Yes.
Yes, you are. Okay, brilliant. Hi. So the UK, in the beginning of the presentation, we did mention that the innovator visas has a requirement of £50,000. But the most important aspect under this category of visa is that your business idea has to be very innovative. It has to be, there's a list of endorsing bodies that needs to approve and also think that this is a viable and a scalable proposition whilst they are assessing the application under the innovation. Interestingly, since it's come up, there's a lot of endorsing bodies which are listed under the list, and we've seen few instances where endorsing bodies has gone to the length of also kind of providing funds for those kind of innovative ideas. If your ideas are really standing out, you see endorsing body going to the length of kind of extending finances for such kind of innovative businesses that are likely to enter the UK.
Brilliant. All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. Charlotte, I've got a quick one from you, from Saurav. He wants to understand how would the Malta citizenship compare with, say, the Bulgarian one? You know, so.
So I think the main difference that Malta has is the access to the Schengen area and also the power of passport. So with even the residence by investment as well as the citizenship by investment program, the successful applicant will have access to the Schengen area without visa. Once they obtain a passport, the Maltese passport is very powerful and they can access more than 180 countries without visa. I'd say as well, like I mentioned, that one of the main difference is that the Maltese program is vetted by the European Commission, and this is very important because as part of the European Union, the European Commission has a say on what can be done to obtain new European citizens within the European Union. And lastly, the Maltese citizenship by investment, if I heard correctly during the Bulgarian presentation, the difference is the contribution. We do have a contribution which is non-refundable. However, the investment part is much cheaper. I would say it's 150,000 euros, which needs to be invested and which are obviously returned after 5 years, obviously with a bonus, with a return hopefully. And the real estate part is as well as a very small amount. Malta has the chance not to rely too much on real estate during this program, so that the risks are less great than in other countries.
All right, superb. Well, thank you very much for that, Charlotte. Sam, I've got one for you at the moment. So one of our participants wants to know, how is Turkey coping with the COVID-19 scenario? I mean, is it severely affected or not so much? And does that impact the real estate pricing out there?
It has been quite affected, like most countries. I would say Turkey has done a good job at preventing the spread. They have periodic lockdowns where a curfew is enforced. One good thing is that we have still been able to process applications. We received 5 passports today, actually. So that's still been ongoing, which is wonderful. In terms of property prices, we are offering some additional benefits that we wouldn't normally offer, which can include discount, rental guarantee, buyback, depends on the project. But again, I think as somebody mentioned earlier, we're stuck with the investment threshold. This is set by the government. I can't control that. But you can get, for your dollar, you can now buy a better or larger unit.
Right, brilliant. Okay, well, thanks for that, Sam.
You're welcome.
Desislav, I've got one question for you on the Bulgarian investment. One of our participants wants to know, the investment in the bonds, is that again a capital preservation? So are we guaranteed to get that money back, or is it subject to market variances?
Yes, there is some kind of guarantee to get the money back, because the bonds are very low risks, and they can be very easily sold in the secondary market. There is
right. Okay. So there's liquidity on that one. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Brilliant. Okay. Mike, I've got one quick question for you on the EB5 visas. I've got a participant who's a bit worried about the changes in the US policies, and they want to know whether, with the current administration, is there any security in terms of the visas being granted, and will the rules remain the same?
Specifically for EB5?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, as of right now, there are no changes to the program at all. And as I mentioned in my presentation, the ban that went into effect last month does not affect EB5. EB5 petitions are continuing to be processed, albeit slowly, but that has nothing to do with the COVID-19 or anything like that, or the ban. So as of right now, there are no planned changes to the program of pricing or processing or anything else at this moment. There's been a lot of chatter about, potentially some changes being made to the program to make more visas available and to reduce the price. Up until now, it's only been a rumor, and nothing that we've seen from any of our industry sources or other intelligence suggests that any of those changes will occur.
Right, brilliant. Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Mike. Just got time for one question. I'm going to put that across to Kostub Palachanda, who's standing in for Mohammed. Kostub, one of the participants wants to know about the E2 route. So once someone's got the Grenadian nationality and then they're applying for the E2 visa, does the dual intent come into place? Is there a scope for refusal on that visa if they've just acquired the Grenadian nationality?
Is the question, are they allowed to have a dual citizenship while they have citizenship of India?
No, so it's about, if they've just acquired the Grenadian nationality and then they're applying for the E2 visa, is there a possibility that they could get turned down because they've just swapped citizenships right now?
Not necessarily. We've seen the E2 approval has been really high, but yes, there are reasons why you can have your E2 rejected. One of them can be not knowing your business. One of them can be not being able to answer the questions. But on average, if you know the business you're going to invest in and what kind of the language you're using, there is no reason why an E2 should be rejected.
Right, brilliant. Well, thank you very much.
Can I add to that?
Yes,
so as it relates to the E2 and Grenadian citizenship, that's definitely the correct answer. What we've seen and what we recommend to people is typically before you file the actual E2 petition, once you get Grenadian citizenship, is that you at least wait for 3 to 6 months, because there have been some adjudicators that have questioned that. So it usually doesn't result in a denial, but it may delay things by having some extra questions that are unnecessary. So if somebody gets their Grenadian citizenship, it may be beneficial to wait 3 or more months after that to officially file your petition for E2.
Right, brilliant. Okay, so So to kind of sum that bit up, so as long as there's a bit of a connect in terms of the business that you're looking at doing, your background and such, E2 visas will generally have a higher approval rates, to get through.
Very high, very high.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, I think I've got a few more questions, but they kind of pertain to kind of, education and universities. So, there are a few delegates who want to know specific universities in Cyprus and Malta and those places. So what we will do is we'll kind of take that offline so we can answer that across, and just generic information about industries and businesses that they can do in these countries. But we already have that as a part of your decks that you have presented, so don't want to kind of spend time on there. Just any last questions that anyone has? I'm just scanning through on here on there to see if we've covered everything in, and yes, it does seem like we have covered everything. So I think that sums things up from our side out here. I would like to thank each one of you for taking the time out from your schedules and for making yourself available. We really appreciate that. And we'll look forward to kind of, bringing in some, more specific queries if there are any from the participants who are on this program, and from some of the other ones who are watching this on Facebook and the other channels. Okay. So thank you very much once again, everyone, for participating, and we have enjoyed presenting this for you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Stay safe.
My one more question.
Thank you, Yanis. Will do.
Set one program for Canada, especially Canada immigration program for entrepreneur program and something like that. So please, I am requesting you, who is the host of this company, please do once for Canada. Thank you very much.
Well, certainly, yes.
Absolutely, we'll take that feedback across. We've got one program coming in for Canada on the express entry route, which is scheduled on the 15th of May. So Shashi will send you the link for that. That focuses completely on Canada migration. So all the routes for Canada on that.
Actually, you're making me dizzy.
That is okay, but Canada also providing some entrepreneur visa, investor visa, and other startup visa.
Absolutely.
So please cover all the criteria in that program, please.
We shall do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shashi. Thanks for that.
Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you very much. Thanks for attending.